Action fanatics, welcome to another edition of the Bulletproof Podcast. I'm your host, Chris the Brain. Joining me once again, it is the Toyman, Chris DePetrillo.
Back once again for your regularly scheduled Bulletproof Podcast, ready to talk about something that we have talked about for a couple of years now. We're finally getting around to it tonight.
We are, and we are doing so with the one and only Ryan Campbell.
Yeah, I got a hard stop in about an hour, guys, because I have to make my appointment for my psycho murderer glamour shots.
All right, well, we'll do our best. Or if you just have to leave, just leave. And everybody listening, you'll understand why Ryan Campbell disappeared from the podcast. But before we get in to Neon Maniacs, let's talk about Duty Palooza. What a success it was.
What a week. Congratulations on the success of this event, Brain.
Round of applause.
It was a wonder. It was everything I dreamed of and then some. And I do also want to thank Matt for joining us last week when we talked a little virtual assassin, aka Cyberjack, as part of Duty Palooza. But to get recognized by the man himself, that was really something special, because here is a guy that, I remember renting that first American Ninja and sitting there in the living room at my parents' house, which was my house at that point too. And just like, it was the greatest. Like, I was so excited. I remember seeing the commercial when it finally hit the video stores. I mean, I couldn't wait to get it. And here I am, even if it was just for 1 minute of his day on his birthday, that we entertained him. You know what? I think that's pretty damn awesome.
And I think the thing is, when you do this kind of stuff and you make content that kind of relies on other people, you can kind of tell when they are like, just hit the share button or acknowledge your existence, which is nice. It's always, they don't have to do that. But this genuinely seemed like, I don't know if he read the entire article, but he at least kind of like perused it or like gave thought to it. Like the response was, it was more than just, hey, thanks for, keeping me relevant or whatever like that. Like, it was a very genuine response, and it was really nice to see, and it really helped out the site. We really appreciate it.
He is a genuinely great human being by all accounts, and proved to me, and I think to all of us here, he's a hero, Toyman. He is a hero worth worshiping.
He is. He's a true, a real American hero, to steal a tagline from G.I. Joe, being the American Ninja, the Avenging Force, and being a historical figure, I guess you could say, because technically he's a musketeer.
That's true. That is true. So, yeah, if you missed out on Duty Palooza, you could check out all of the articles that we did over on bulletproofaction.com, and you could check out last week's podcast, again, as we talked Cyberjack, a.k.a. Virtual Assassin, with the DTV connoisseur himself, Matt Poirier. But you know what, guys? It is spooky season, which would explain why we're talking Neon Maniacs. I mean, Toyman did review the movie in May, which I'm sure had somebody on this call scratching his head or banging it against the wall. But spooky season, there was a recent movie that
It was in May. You say May like it was May this year. It was May 7 years ago.
Right.
It wasn't Spanish Clown during Actionversary. So
no, it wasn't that bad. It could have been worse. You're right. But I wouldn't necessarily think May for a horror movie. But you know what? That's fine. It is what it is. It's over with. It was, as Toyman said, it was 7 years ago. But you know what came out just recently, gentlemen?
I don't know.
Him.
It did.
Him. And that's one that I saw and I was intrigued by. But, like many movies these days, if you don't act quickly and get to the theater, poof, they're gone. Well, Him has hit digital, and it is going to be part of our spooky season giveaway. And everyone could go right now to bulletproofaction.com if they would like to receive a digital copy or chance to receive a digital copy of Him. And if you don't know Him, let me tell you about it. Jordan Peele, he invites you to experience the eerie thrills of the groundbreaking sports horror film Him, now available to watch at home. So if you were like me and missed out on the theater, you could check out Him And this thing's got 45 minutes of exclusive bonus content, including a haunting alternate ending, 5 deleted scenes, and behind the scenes featurettes. You could buy it right now, or you could try to win it. Go to bulletproofaction.com. You'll see it right there. And for the listeners of this podcast, you can get 2 entries in the contest if you use this secret code word I'm about to give you. Because when I say him, or when I think him, you know what I think of, Toyman? You know what I think of, Ryan Campbell? I think of one of my favorite wrestlers of today, Mello, Carmelo Hayes. The secret code word is Mello, Melo. You put that in, you'll get 2 entries into winning a digital copy of him as part of our spooky season giveaway.
Yeah, Mello does kind of embody the whole vibe of that film, and that kind of like bravado that brings. So, and yeah, we've talked about it recently, Jordan Peele, and kind of the elevated horror and how he's one of the pioneers. It's kind of redefined the genre. So when he puts his name to something, it's definitely something worth checking out.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to, and now I have a chance, as does everyone else. So there you go, spooky season giveaway. You can find it on bulletproofaction.com. I will draw that winner on the 17th. So you only have a few days to enter. So make sure you do if you're interested. I have a couple copies to give away. So do that as soon as possible, folks. And if you're listening to this like 3 months after the fact, you missed out.
Yeah, I mean, if you're listening to this on your phone or you got it pulled up in a browser, just open another tab. You're going to be sitting here for the next hour anyway, listening to us yap. So
that's right.
Go over to the site, and we can probably put a link in the description on the YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, we'll put a link in the description.
Very good.
So there you go.
There you go. So there you go. Spooky season giveaway. It is that time of year, and it is that time of year. So let's talk about something spooky. Let's talk about a movie called Neon Maniacs, which was oddly, I guess maybe Toyman was right in reviewing it in May, because the Genius Brain Trust released this movie 2 weeks after Halloween.
Yeah.
After the spooky season.
Yeah. There's got to be a reason, like internally, of maybe delays or something when that happens. Like, because that happened. Me and my daughter were watching the new trailer for. She's a big Five Nights at Freddy's fan, and the new trailer came out, and I'm like, oh, that'll be really fun to go see that in the next few weeks. I assume it's coming out before Halloween. It's coming out in December. Makes a shit ton of sense.
Well, they probably figure that for that one, the kids will be out of school.
It's like is at least late
not
December.
Necessarily a family movie, but the younger generation that'll be out of school.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the first one came out though right around Halloween. So I don't know. My only thing I can think of is there was a delay in shooting or something, because I have to assume they'd want to get it out. But either way, I get that rationale.
Well, for this one, and I'm sure it'll come up a couple of times during the course of the conversation tonight, but this was a very troubled production. There's a lot of stuff that went into delays of this film, multiple roles being cast. I'm sorry, multiple actors cast for the same role. There's a lot of kind of like unfortunate trivia around this film.
Well, I'm sure you will shed some light on it as we go, but let's start off. The movie takes place in San Francisco, and we see a fisherman in the wee hours, and there's just a bizarre find. Something catches his eye, and it's like a skull, and then it's got Neon Maniac collector's pictures.
Well, yeah, actually know that they're the Neon Maniacs, so he's kind of like, oh, hey, like, did I just stumble upon someone's stash? Was someone going down to the baseball card shop to trade these in? And instead of a Don Mattingly, he's finding a samurai and all these crazy, very we just talked a few weeks ago about the Toxic Avenger. A lot of similarities in design for the Neon Maniacs creatures to the original Toxic Avenger concept.
Yeah, I actually put my detective hat on and located who took those photos, and that is who is doing my glamour shots. That's why I got to get out of here. They were hard to book, Brain. They're flying in from San Francisco to get it done. We're gonna be down on the riverfront here in Cincinnati. It's gonna be a great session.
It'll be real nice. Yeah, really great for your Halloween cards that you're gonna send.
Can't wait to see Ryan smeared in green grease paint with his gimmick of choice.
That seems like a you problem. Now listen. After we see that, or after the fisherman finds these pictures, he finds himself dead. And then we cue the theme from Too Close for Comfort.
When I saw that note, I was like, because I already had, a light rock joke ready. But thank you for being the one to open up the podcast with the retro reference here tonight. Too Close for Comfort, one of my favorite television shows of all time.
And it took place in San Francisco, so it's fitting that they stole the theme song for this movie. We now
And
find
they
out
both had a hot blonde.
they did. It's Natalie's birthday, guys.
Natalie's the hot blonde.
She is the hot blonde, speaking of. And she's in a van, and her friends are heading to party. But first, they got to stop for some beer. But before they even stop for the beer, we get a nice sing-along as they serenade their friend Natalie on her big day. Walking his dog about this same time is Steve, a.k.a. Baloney Man, and his dog Elvis, or maybe his dog has no name. It depends what you want to believe. Well, Elvis gets away from him on the walk, and Elvis, Toyman, is a big Natalie fan.
Yeah, it runs right to her. I mean, and it's not even like Steve. Well, it's clear that Steve is smitten with Natalie, but it's not even like he was doing the dog walk to try to get the
Right.
girl's attention. Oh, what a cute puppy. She tends to have a certain magnetism about her, which will be unfortunate as the movie goes on.
Indeed.
Dogs always know, Brain. You gotta trust your pets in this instance.
That's right. They're the first to know. Steve and Ray, who was the driver, or at least the head guy, he's the one stops. He's going to go in and get the beer. We find out that Steve and Ray do not get along. This is a classic high school rivalry type situation that has absolutely no payoff.
So it's a high school rivalry, but he's going into the liquor store buying beer with no problem.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
the movie does kind of lose the plot a little bit. Like, are these high school kids or are these like young adults?
Yeah, I really didn't even peg them as being high school until we got the scenes later, like in the cafeteria. But
right.
To both your points, losing the plot and lack of payoff are going to be common threads for the next hour or so.
And now we're going to meet Paula, who is a young lady who is
Getting ready for her glamour shots after Ryan.
Yeah, she's really into the horror movies. Very much like a Corey Feldman character from
Friday the 13th, final
correct.
chapter.
That's correct. And she's like, I'm testing makeup for a shoot I'm doing tomorrow. And at this point, we don't know really what the hell she's talking about.
His name's Ryan.
Yeah. Other than she's a horror fan, she's obviously a movie fan. She's got a Blade Runner poster on the wall, which
2 weeks straight with some Blade Runner references.
Right? That takes us back. And we cut back to the cool kids who are partying in the park, as cool kids often do or did. I don't know. I was never a cool kid. And Natalie's in the van.
We hung out in parks. It happened. Usually at night.
Thank you for chiming in as the official cool person on the podcast. The reason you're cool now is because you feel a draft on your head, you bastard. Now listen.
That's true. I no longer have my beautiful Zach Morris head of hair.
Yeah, you don't. You do not. Yeah, so Natalie's in the van talking with her friend Lisa, talking about relationships and sex or the lack thereof for Natalie. And while all this is going on, and others are out frolicking and doing this and that, we keep getting cuts to some kind of troubles coming. We keep seeing this crossbow, and I'm like, this can't be good. Wally and Susie are going to go do what they're going to go do, but first Wally has to piss. But the piss took so much out of him, Ryan Campbell, that he just has to lay down afterwards.
Yeah, sometimes they can be exhausting. Not to get too graphic, but I think we've all been there where you're just like, dear God, this is taking forever. I could really use a nap right about now. And so yeah, sometimes you just in the same way that when you gotta go, you gotta go. When you gotta nap, you gotta nap.
Right. So all this is happening. But after that pissing, that's when the attacks begin, because Wally gets it. there's a beheading while giving head, I guess is how you
Is
would
that
explain it.
giving beheading?
I don't
Well, I
know.
guess it's a good thing that when you die, your muscles supposedly loosen up, because if she tensed up, it could have been a double beheading.
No, I thought
Ooh.
you bite down.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought you bite down. I thought that was the
His wiener would have gone. Well, he dies anyway.
yeah, at least of his worries.
We yes, we find out that a Roman candle can't stop a samurai maniac.
Noted.
Yeah,
But
that kid is just like, like, do the Neon Maniacs have freeze power? Because he just stands there and he's like, duh. Like, he was very clearly like the Beavis and Butthead of the crew. And then he's like, well, let me just light this on fire and point it at you. Like, there's like almost like no emotion, no fear, no what are you? He literally just stands there very still with his fireworks.
listen, Toyman, the lore, the backgrounds, power structures. We're never going to really learn any of this about these maniacs. And every time we see them, there's one. They add one more to their ranks, to the card set. It's a moving target with what the hell's going on with these guys.
And it's not like
That's
they
all part of that's all part of the production, because
Mm.
now to your point, they did keep adding some, and because they had to keep going back and forth with production, there's a delay, the investor pulled out, we got to get more money, all that stuff. If I remember correctly, and I can always open up the old another tab and look it up, but there was supposed to be something like 25 maniacs in the original script. There was
that
supposed to be like a
was
swarm of them.
very ambitious. Well, and we know they don't multiply via water like a gremlin.
No,
So-
water
it's
is
actually
their
quite the
Achilles
opposite.
heel.
That's right.
Right. We'll get there, folks. So Natalie was in the van and she's starting to see her friends getting picked off. So she wisely locks herself in the van. And then, of course, smash the windshield as one would do when you're trying to get somebody who's locked themselves in a vehicle. Then they start rocking the van, but not the good kind of this van's a rocking. This is
Not what normally
terrifying.
happens when you're hanging out in the park at night.
Right, that I understand. And then it gets quiet, and you're like, "Oh, did she just imagine this? Did they just suddenly disappear?
They got tired.
Yeah, what happened?" And then nope, they're still there, and they're trying to freaking tip the whole van over, and they're getting pretty close to it. But then you hear thunder and lightning, and it gets quiet again. And then you're like, "Okay, so they fooled me once." But then the door handle is jiggling. Oh my God, they're going to just come right in. No, folks, it's the police.
Okay, so where we're at right now, we're still in the good. It's the first 15 minutes of the film.
Mm-hmm.
We have established that they're kind of random killer bad guys, which is perfectly fine. We've seen plenty of them in cinema. We're hitting the tropes. Now we've established that cops won't believe her thing because they disappeared.
Right.
And we got like the lightning thing, which seems to imply that is somehow linked to their power structure or whatever summons them. So, okay, we've laid some groundwork. I am sure that the movie is going to continue to build and explain on all of these things that it's laying out there right now.
You're a very optimistic viewer, Ryan Campbell. So Natalie is, of course, taken downtown for questioning. We kind of see that, but then we get the end of it as they're listening back. And when I say they, just a room full of cops with the lieutenant there. And they're like, oh,
a dark room. This movie hates lighting.
It does. The lighting budget was...
Yeah, there's not a lot of neon for the Neon Maniacs.
Right, there's no neon. Dumb. Anyway, the cops aren't really... They're like, oh, maybe it's just a prank. What prank is this?
Kids are dead.
Or kids have gone missing. Ha-ha! That's a great... Like, where's the...
Oh, they probably just got jobs in women, brain.
That is true. You give them money, you give an ice factory worker money, he's going to go off and just go gambling and get drunk and hang out with loose women.
See them for weeks.
Mm-hmm. But they're like, well, and the lieutenant's like, well, let's see what the sun brings up. It's just very, very shoddy police work. Much like last week. When we
I think that's kind of a meta joke because we never see the sun in this movie.
That's true because it's anti-light.
It's like an internal meta that he's actually saying that they're just never gonna find out what happened.
So now Natalie's back home. They don't believe her story, but at the same time, they can't be like, well, how did this woman that we found locked in a van do? She couldn't have done the disappearing of these people, but all right. So anyway, we now find out Natalie's all alone at home because her parents are off in Europe. So she goes for a nice night swim to relax her
Rather
nerves.
calmly. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. The PTSD hasn't kicked in yet, or maybe
No.
it has.
It's about to, though. And now a maniac, though, is in the hedges, and he's like, ooh, I'm like, oh, but she's oblivious to it because she's just, I'm going to the pool. The minute she gets in the water, though, that maniac's like, oh, I can't go in the water. So now you're like, oh, something with the water? Is it chlorine? What's going on? But anyway, Natalie falls asleep on her little tube. Is she in a tube thing?
Like the little circular, like the raft thing.
Yeah, she's in that thing. She falls asleep, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, now the sky is raining blood. Like Vince Russo was in charge. And we find it was just a nightmare. So here's perhaps
I'd say it's a pretty accurate nightmare, though, because we all know, because I was watching this on my computer, and my daughter was watching YouTube videos on the couch right behind me, and every once in a while she's kind of popping her head around and seeing what's going on, and she's like, why doesn't she just climb out of the pool?
Right.
Because, like, you know, she's like, it's raining blood, I can't get up out of the pool.
I think she was like slipping. I think that was the whole thing.
The blood
that she
was
like
slippery.
You're already wet though. Like, we all, every time you get out of a pool, you're slippery. But the point, and she's like,
slippery on the, no, not on blood. Blood is very slick.
Well, I think it was, and then she's like, why doesn't she move her, like, she's already got her arms on the wall, move herself down to the ladder. But then we find out it's a nightmare, and we've all had nightmares where, like, we can't run, or like we're in a scary situation, and like our brains just are saying, yes, run, but the legs like don't do it. Like, so like that, totally cool with that. I get it. Like, we've, you know, that's kind of what a nightmare is you're locked in place, or you can't move, or you can't scream out, you know, to somebody that's right there when you need help. That's kind of like a common nightmare we all kind of share in.
I'm sharing in one right now. All right, the real rain wakes her up, though, and she, oh, thank God, it was just a dream. Now we're back at the park the next day, and the cops find a bunch of gook and slime that they somehow bag up.
Like someone stepped on the Mucinex mascot.
Was it dripping off of something, and they just held the bag underneath?
I think it was dripping off.
Maybe it came off the garbage pail kid's garbage pail.
Oh, thank God.
That or it fell out of that mouth that was giving the head or something. I don't know.
Oh, my. Whoa. No, the
Ryan
bodies
Campbell
were gone.
taking it to the next level.
The bodies were gone. We don't have a mouth with goo in it.
I thought this was
Neon Maniacs SVU.
That's exactly what I was going for. Thank you. We were on the exact same page there.
That's scary.
I know. What does that say about me, Brain? I'm a little worried.
I wake up worried. Paula gets a call from her friend Gary. And Gary fills her in because his dad is on the police force. He's like, oh, yeah, there was a monster attack. This girl, Natalie, is the one who saw it all.
That's a call on the house phone that you need a ladder to reach.
Right. Well, these things happen. There were no bodies.
Eating her Star Wars cereal.
Oh, that Ryan Campbell was jealous.
Yeah, we also got there's a Star Wars T-shirt a little bit later in the film.
It was huge in the 80s still.
That was the shirt that her friend was wearing. The kid
no,
that called, right?
Gary. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a May the Force be with you shirt.
They're movie buffs. So yeah, the kids are missing. No bodies are found. Oh, but so this is, obviously this Paula is all into the macabre and the horror and all. So she's like, I got to talk to this freaking Natalie chick ASAP. So the next
I feel sorry for Paula, because in a world that no one gives a shit about why anything's happening, Paula is the only person that wants to know what the hell's going on.
Yeah. Paula is easily the MVP of this movie. Much like Marcos was in Kickboxer 3, when that movie had a lot of things that just really, if you thought too much about it, was like, why?
This whole thing kind of gives me a little bit of like Stranger Things vibes. And that we have like adults that are oblivious and or absent or just kind of not part of it. we've got popular like final girl, dorky kid in her class, and then we've got the younger kids that are the nerds that kind of drive the plot forward and a lot of the investigation part of it. So there was like definitely a lot of similarities to Stranger Things here, and I'd be interested to know if like secretly the Duffer Brothers were like huge Neon Maniacs fans.
It's very possible. It is very possible. But yeah, so Natalie does not want to talk to this crazy girl. And then we go to the cafeteria, and yeah, this is where we definitely know these are high schoolers. And we see Steve, and he is longing for Natalie from across the cafeteria.
Pining, you may say.
Pining indeed. And all this part of it, I was like, I can understand Steve. I feel I could relate to Steve. But then later, when we find out like he's the lead of a band, it's like, come on, you should be fighting him off with a stick, man.
I can. Here's the thing, Brain. I was front man in a band in high school, and I was also kind of like a nerdy, like shy kid. So like, it did a little bit of work for me, but like, I also didn't have the confidence to like take that the next step and actually talk to girls.
There you go.
So
there you go. All right. Well, there you are. Then you should really. Steve should be your favorite character.
Me and Steve. Yeah, me and Steve are.
We're gonna start calling you Baloney Man.
I'll take it. Whatever. I've been called worse.
No, what if called pasta breath?
Oh,
that was the insult that the kid had for him.
Take that, because those things are sold at your place of employment, sucker. Oh yeah, one of the sisters of the missing kids comes up to Natalie and is all pissed off, and Steve steps in as the night. He took advantage there. He made the right move there. The principal tells Natalie, like, hey, why don't you just go home for a while, because obviously this is going to be an ongoing problem until we figure out what the hell happened to these kids. Good call, principal. And obviously, what kid's going to be like, no, I don't want to go home from school.
Why did you go to school? Like she witnessed a mass murder by these creature mutant, whatever they are, and
right.
She's just kind of carrying on. They send her home alone. Her parents aren't there, so it's not like they released her to a guardian or anything.
I don't think it's much more than the movie needs to continue.
Thank you.
I don't think there was much thought given to like, well, we have to go to the next scene now.
Mm-hmm. I think it's shoddy police work once again. Paula's at the cemetery to shoot her latest movie, and she's setting the scene up. And here comes good old Gary.
She actually has better cinematography and lighting than the movie she's in has.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's a good point. And she gets more intel from her boy Gary. So now Paula's like, okay. After that, she said, I'm gonna call. She didn't want to talk to me in person. Maybe if I ring her telephone, she'll talk. No, still no. Still a no for you, Paula. I'm sorry.
I like how she's moved on in her life in every aspect except for talking to Paula.
Right. Well, she doesn't want to go back. She's trying to move forward. She's trying to put that whole ugly incident behind her. And she knows this Paula is just going to want to bring it back up, I guess. I don't know. We go to Steve, and he's playing his guitar. And his sister's like, hey, you got to get down. Dad needs you at the grocery store. So in case we could kind of figure out why he's got the nickname Baloney Boy.
Brain, my family didn't own a grocery store, but I did work at
Meijer.
I did. Yes.
You are Steve.
Bagger, cart getter, and then got a cashier promotion a little bit later.
Oh, yeah. Did you ever deliver? See, this nowadays, you might have to be a delivery. They didn't really do delivery at that point.
No, they have Instacart and all that now, but
right.
I don't think you could do it in high school. I think you have to be a little bit older to deliver on Instacart.
Right, and go into the person's house and put it in the refrigerator for them.
Yeah.
As we will see. So Natalie gets another phone call, Toyman. This is just some mother who's upset about her missing child. Because again, where did these people think Natalie put these 6 people?
And it's interesting how a lot of this information is circulating. So if you're trying to solve a crime, whether you think Natalie's the prime suspect or anything, police tend to kind of play that close to the vest. They don't make everything public. and she's already been accosted at school. She's getting phone calls from parents wondering where their son is. It's like, how is she already public enemy number one?
Well, it actually plays in a lot to a movie that came out this past summer in Weapons, which is very similar. In the overnight, an entire classroom of kids of just one classroom disappears, and everyone instantly blames the teacher because,
Right.
well, what did you do? Clearly, you were the last person to see them all. It's just your classroom. Surely you have something to do with it. And it's parents that are obviously frustrated that don't have answers and are looking for somewhere to address their frustrations and anger. And that's just the person. The only physical thing attached to the tragedy that you feel like, you can address. So I actually kind of buy it. That's what would happen. People would do that. They would assume you were there. You have to know something. And for lack of having any other answers from the crack cops that Brain keeps bringing up, they're just going to keep putting pressure on her.
Yeah, I mean they're desperate, obviously, and they're in a panic and they're at their wits' end. So it makes sense. Paula decides she's going to go do some investigating because she knows these cops don't know jack shit.
No one in this town knows jack shit. Paula is the smartest person in this movie.
She is.
Proactive Paula.
There is no school for Natalie, so why not just lay around by the pool in beautiful California? And that's where Steve shows up with some groceries. So it actually pays off that he has to work because here he is in a great spot. And he puts her groceries right in the refrigerator for her. And she wants to give him a tip, but this is where he makes his move, Ryan Campbell. He's like, no tip. But how about you go out with me to the movies tonight?
He plays it pretty sly, and and she's giving out the energy as well. She's got like a robe on, and she's kind of being a little flirtatious. So, enough to where he's in enemy territory. So he's going out on a limb here, Brain. It pays off for him.
He's also dressed like Larry Dallas from Three's Company.
Thank you very much.
I had to sneak mine in there. So you beat me with Too Close for Comfort. I had to sneak another one in.
What shirt did he have on?
He had on like a blue blazer, R.I.P. Owen Hart, but he had on like a blue blazer and jeans. It was
maybe it was later.
Like a very 80s.
Well, when did he have the "Oh no" shirt on?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That was probably later. That was after
the Bill shirt was after the subway scene.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I was like. I knew he had like some character, and I meant to put it in the notes, and I didn't. So yeah, she's like, "Oh, I'll go to the movie, but no horror movies." Ha ha ha. All right.
We're laughing through tragedy.
So one of the cops, there's a cop who catches Paula snooping around, and then she's like, "Get out of here, kid." So then she goes back to her bike, but she catches a cop riding her bike. These police.
She like tells him, "Don't break it," and then the camera lingers on him for a good 2 minutes of him just like making faces at her after she's already ridden away.
No, she gets the best. This is when I really fell in love with Paula in this movie. As she's riding away in the bike, she goes oink oink.
Yeah, pigs.
And he gets like he actually grabs his gun, which is kind of weird. But then he starts like laughing about it. But that attitude, I was like, Paula, you're a queen. Get it?
Okay. Yeah, Paula. She's doing that. But anyway, so she gets home just as her parents are leaving for the night, as parents are often known to do. And they're like, "Oh, your dinner's
back by midnight.
The dinner's in the oven, and don't be staying up too late." But of course
we're going to the swingers meetup.
Oh, maybe. She goes back, or we go back to the park, and a cop finds a coin on the ground. And then finds himself dead, much like the poor fisherman from earlier.
I wonder if someone went down there with their coins to purchase the trading cards.
I did like New Sky. I think he was one of the better ones. I don't know. Was he like Nazi New Sky? What was his getup?
No, Hangman was his name.
Oh, Hangman.
That makes more sense than New Sky.
New Sky. That's that's the off-brand, back in the 80s when you'd get like your generic wrestlers and your fake GI Joes. So yeah, the generic Neon Maniac, New Sky.
And so he's dead. Paula has now, of course, returned because her parents can't stop her, but she brought her camera. And she actually captures the maniacs on camera, or so she thinks at least. But boy, that didn't work out for her, Ryan Campbell.
No, as usual, they scare her off, and she gets scared back into and running away, and the kind of shot of it becoming too intense for her, and she runs off. But before they can get to her, the rain saves the day. Just in the nick of time, and scares all the monsters back into their hole.
Yeah, these monsters in the rain. It's now we definitely know it's just got to be water. They're just scared of water for some
which
reason.
Is good. It happened in front of the only person in this movie paying attention. So now Paula has got that little bit of information.
She will. So now we've cut to Steve and Natalie. They've seen their movie. They're going home. They have to take the subway since Steve's ride is broken down.
Props to Natalie for also not giving him a hard time about it. She's like, it's cool.
Right. Well, yeah, she's.
We can't make out when you have to.
He's batting 1,000 with her.
We can make out on the subway.
He was very intimidated by her in the beginning, like, just kind of like the smitten, boy next door, girl next door type of thing, like the unspoken romance, the unrequited love. And now he's like, wait a minute, I shot my shot and it's working out pretty well, except for the fact that she's being stalked by a bunch of mutant killers.
Right. And, first, they're the only two in the train station. Where is everyone?
Yeah, there are not a lot of people living in San Francisco at this time.
Where is everyone?
I know what's coming.
Steve replies with this line, and I thought it was very interesting. Home, watching Dynasty with Toyman, a favorite of kids everywhere.
I was shocked when he said that in the movie.
I was gonna say, for the uninitiated, he didn't say the full sentence that Brain just described. Brain finds it fitting because back in 1986, even though I was 5 and 6 years old, I was likely at home watching Dynasty because that's just what my family did.
And that's okay. I'm not going to go back down that path. But anyway, once they get in the, she thinks I thought I saw some feathers. What? There's no feathers. So they get in the train, and that's when they do, in fact, realize they were not alone. The maniacs have tracked down Natalie. Engineer ends up dead. And Steve and Natalie probably would have too, Ryan Campbell, if not for the sudden stop that the train made.
Yeah, one of the rare instances in a runaway subway scene where the system works. It recognizes, hey, we're going way too fast as we're coming into the station, and kicks in like the auto brakes that have never existed in any other movie, and which causes a jolt. All of our maniacs go flying forward, and the doors open, and they get just enough time, Brain, to escape the clutches of death.
Indeed, and we go
first time we see the Indian. Is that the new one we introduced it? The Native American, I should say.
Correct, I believe so.
He's the new addition to the collection.
Yeah. Hey, how are you, Native American maniac? So they go from one of the world's most dangerous trains to one of the world's most dangerous buses, because the Native American maniac, he's not taking no for an answer, even after he gets his arm chopped off by a bus window.
Oh, this was the 80s, Brain. Those things were razor sharp.
But then again, remember, water affects them, so maybe their body composition is not as strong.
Yeah,
as a normal human.
Maybe there was some rain built up on the edge of that window.
They probably didn't have water. They probably were made out of that slime.
Why would they have their base in a bridge which is near water if they're afraid of water? It seems like
they're fucking idiots. That's why. Yeah. So then
technically, it wasn't their base, but that's another thing that we'll get into once we.
I sure as hell don't know what it is. The movie won't tell me.
Right, we just got to make a lot of assumptions. So yeah, Lieutenant Devlin in the middle of the night decides, I'm going to call my detective because I've decided we should tail her. Like, yeah, maybe you should have just left this girl who's the only link to these missing people. Just go home. What, your parents aren't there? Just fucking go home.
Yeah,
you don't go to school.
the detective that I assume sleeps in the nude, and we got this weird scene where he's like keeping the blanket like right over his junk. Like, why was that necessary?
You wanted to see his junk, or
no, but why was it?
You should have been
wearing
just, some pants.
You could have just sat up in bed or something and just had the, like that was just weirdly laid out to like.
It's probably was like a Chad Cruz situation. Chad Cruz, if he ever gets in a movie, he's going to get his ass out, whether it is required for the role or not. And maybe this guy's like, oh, can I have like a almost nude scene, director?
Yeah,
sure.
I want the sheets tastefully draped over.
Right. I want it to be, yeah. Mm-hmm. So Lieutenant, and he's like, oh, did you ever find out about that slime? Yeah, the lab doesn't know shit. So
I mean, it was the 80s. This was pre-CSI.
That's true. We didn't have a lot of stuff back then for that type of
forensics was in its infancy. If you weren't at the scene of the murder when the cop showed up, you probably got away with it.
Yeah. One of the maniacs has tracked down Paula at home, but she, before bed wrote down all the things to fight evil. And so she's prepared. She's got garlic around her neck and a crucifix and whatnot. And when this maniac shows up, she hops out and just squirts it with water. And that is officially now. She knows 100%. And this stupid maniac goes into the shower.
Well, he falls in the shower because she threw a bucket of water at him.
That's right. She does a bucket, and then she just turns the shower on. And oh God, I bet you those pipes are clogged.
It's like the reverse Toxic Avenger. He mutated in the tub. This guy melted in the tub.
I bet you she put him down in that drain, and then he became a chud.
I don't know. Maybe it's like that Green Gobbler drain cleaner. Maybe it improves.
That's true. That could be.
Maybe that's what Green Gobbler is, Brain.
Yeah, is dead Neon Maniacs.
There's a factory where it just keeps producing new Neon Maniacs, and then they instantly douse them in water and bottle it.
They just put the factory door right across from the door of their bridge house.
Yeah.
And they stupidly walk over, and then they just get killed, and then they
just fall into a vat of water, and then it just filters right down into the bottles, and dun 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 dun. It's just the Rube Goldberg machine of producing Green Gobbler.
Mm-hmm.
If we disappear, you guys know what happened. We uncovered Big Green Gobbler.
That's true. This could be the final episode of this show. Many people are hoping that every week anyway. The next morning we find out
the universe. Do not manifest that, Brain. People love us.
Okay. That's true. I'm sure some people do, and we appreciate you for listening. Especially at this point, we're like 40 some minutes in. If you're still listening, thank you. So yeah, So Paula took care of that. The next morning we find out that Steve stayed at Natalie's place, but he's a gentleman. He's not being presumptuous. He slept on the couch.
Good man.
Yeah, for an 80s horror B movie, there's really not a lot of sex in this. We did get the blowjob scene, but even in the beginning, it was very unerotic. We got like a quick boob flash in the beginning, but this was like the prime era of exploiting the young actresses and actors for all of that type of stuff.
That's like 50% of the reason why you'd rent or want to watch these movies is because there could be boobies.
I mean, there really isn't even gore from the kills.
No,
there's always
some blood splatter.
There's always there's like a cutaway, or like when the guy gets like the spike right through the head in the very beginning. I thought, okay, I remember thinking as he was bringing it down, I'm like, okay, well, this is the litmus test of kind of how this movie is going to be and how it's going to handle it. This is the beginning kills. If they're going to go hard, they're going to go hard here, and they cut away and don't show it. And I was like, oh, okay, that sets the tone. That's how it's going to be.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a knock on the door, and it's Paula. And this time, she really is not going to take no for an answer. She's like, I have seen these maniacs too. I know how to kill them. And finally, like, okay, let's hear this young lady out. And that's when we find out. That's when Steve. We find out he is the leader of a band called the Outlaws. And it just so happens that very night is the big Battle of the Bands costume chaos fiesta.
And conveniently, Brain,
Halloween party at the school.
Yeah, and conveniently, it's the safest place in town. Who'd have thought?
Well, and if especially it would be even safer if everyone in the audience had a squirt gun.
Brilliant, Steve.
You know
Brilliant
what would
stuff.
make it even safer? If you told them why you were handing them squirt guns.
Right. That
Gave them even the lightest heads up.
That's where this plan fell apart quickly.
And also have someone at the door scanning for Neon Maniacs that could slip in like with all the other disguises.
Right.
Not wait for them
The
to
thing that I
impale
was
someone.
the most impressed with by this Halloween party was that when you see people coming in, you see a guy in like a Spider-Man costume, and I'm almost certain that the guy behind him was wearing a Silver Age Vision costume,
Yeah, I'm gonna say it
which
was like
is
an
very
old,
rare for 1986. You
right.
wouldn't expect that. Like the
He was
Vision was not
real.
exactly a big name Marvel guy back then. He was kind of like, BC tier. So to see someone in like full on Vision regalia, very impressive for a film
It
like
was a good
this.
Spider-Man costume too, for like like it was that
Yeah.
would hold up now, I thought.
They could have used that one in the unproduced canon film
Indeed.
in
So yeah,
1986.
that's right.
Maybe that's where they got it from. Just know a guy who knows a guy. That's the canon connection.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, there's a couple of connections to this film. Don't you worry, because I don't know if Brain got all the notes, but there's a couple of interesting connections to this
Oh,
film.
I hope I didn't. I hope you did it, and from now on you could do the notes. Then that's what I'm hoping for. Somebody can do the notes better than me, and I could just sit here and talk out my ass. Yeah. So it's Battle of the Bands time. Steve is there. Hey, everybody, welcome. Here's my band, the Outlaws. Here's our opponents, Jaded.
Wow. So Jaded is the like metal hair band, Brain.
Yeah.
And the Outlaws are like the what would
like
you
the
say,
Romantics.
like 80s. Yeah.
Good rock band, yeah.
Yeah.
And we see the Outlaws perform, but every like 15 seconds we cut to the Maniacs. Seemingly, I'm assuming they're coming this way.
So we've seen plenty of movies that end at a school dance with a live band or something along those lines. Not new territory. But Brain, have you ever anticipated seeing almost 4 full-length songs performed?
No.
In the finale?
Entire soundtrack was in this scene.
Right.
By the time Jaded performed, and isn't their song like "We've Had Enough"? You aren't kidding. I was tuned out at this point in the movie.
I think this is about the time where I like hovered my cursor over the play bar on Tubi to see like
how much longer,
or just looking at the little thumbnails to try to see like, okay, what is coming up in the next few minutes? Like, when did the credits start?
Yeah. After we get the Outlaws, we do get the lights going out, so that's kind of another falsy. Oh shit, everybody's about to die. But no, and then Jaded performs, and they were awful. I did not care for Jaded one bit. Then we go outside. There's like a doctor maniac, and he kills the dude on the street. Was that the guy who was walking his dog earlier? I don't know.
Yeah, Dr. Maniac kind of steals the show from this point on. He almost becomes like the head maniac. He seems to be one that's kind of like
he must have been away at med school.
Yeah, or almost like
started and he just graduated.
Seems to maintain a little bit more of like his thought process, not so much kind of like mindless zombie killer. Like he knocks a guy out with chloroform and like does surgery on him. So like I mean, it all jives with being a doctor, but he seems to be a little bit more methodical than some of the others that are just kind of like a Jason Voorhees zombie slasher guy.
And the Doctor Maniac is the most famous person to come out of this film. Because it was the film debut of Andrew Divoff.
I saw his name in the credits. That name did catch my eye. Very good. He's good. Man of like 1,000 voices or something is his gimmick.
And he doesn't talk in the movie.
Not in this. No, he didn't have to use those skills just yet.
He was also he was in some of our Bulletproof favorites. He was in Running Cool. He was in Toy Soldiers.
Yeah.
Actually, what was the one that we've talked about the last couple of weeks? Hong Kong 97. There's another, callback to that film.
Thank God.
He was also the villain in a movie that I find to be very underrated. I don't know if either of you have watched it. If anyone has, I would assume it would be you, Brain, but A Low Down Dirty Shame with Keenen Ivory Wayans.
Oh, yes, that's true. He is in there. Yeah, to me, Toy Soldiers was obviously his pinnacle of his action movie, but he's been in a ton of. He was in I think it is the revival of Acapulco Heat. He was like in that 2-part when they brought it back, the first 2
Oh
episodes.
yeah, but he didn't have a name. He had like a gimmick name.
Raven, I believe, may have been Raven.
Was it Raven?
I think so.
I was thinking Raven, but I was trying not to get it confused with Raven, the TV show Raven.
Right. No, I'm pretty sure it was Raven. But yeah, we got a motorcycle maniac as well. And now there's soon, next thing you know, the maniacs, who of course just look like weird costumes, are amongst the costume concert goers. And one chick is like, "Hey, maniac, let's dance." David Bowie song.
Why is so stiff?
Oh yeah, you gotta be loose on the
Was
dance.
was that a euphemism?
Maybe.
How maniacal was he about to get?
And then next thing you know,
Steve's about to be stiff here in a little bit.
the doors come.
He's tired of playing around.
The doors come shooting open, and there is Soldier Maniac. And
Maniac with a gun.
he just starts shooting up the place. And Paula's like, "Oh shit, she's got her squirt gun." Steve's like, "Hey, everybody, use your squirt guns."
As they're all getting trampled in a riot.
They're running. Yeah, it's again Steve. Good
Oh,
plan.
remarkably like Grandpa
Horrible.
Munster in her Dracula outfit.
Yeah, horrible execution though.
The Steve from Stranger Things is much more competent lead than this Steve.
Okay.
There was a nice shot in this scene though with Archer with his crossbow when he shot a girl from the back of the head and you see the arrow go out through her mouth. That was a nice little kill scene.
Very good. See, you did some things very well, Neon Maniacs.
It seems like one of those movies that's made by effects and makeup people. Like, you know, sometimes you see a movie where it's like a guy who's done animation or a CGI artist for like 20 years, and this is their directorial debut. That's what this kind of feels like. Like it's a bunch of guys that have been doing effects and makeup and stuff for years, and we're like, why don't we just make our own movie?
Yeah, that's very similar to, I believe it's Action USA, which was basically made by nothing but like stunt people. And like, fuck it, we can do that. We're the ones who we're the most important part of the movies we're doing anyway.
Well, they need to come up with like a genre name for that, where it's just like production people that are finally like branching out to try to make their own movie.
I want you to work on that.
I'll workshop some things.
Get back to us next week on this program.
I'm sure I'll remember.
You won't. So yeah, the detective who was trailing Natalie is killed. Paula is like, "Oh, wait a minute. Squirt gun."
Killed by the one-eyed monster.
Right, the one-eyed monster. Never mind. Paula finds a fire hose, and then she's like, "Okay, now I can."
There's
really
Paula, and this is like a little bit before. I thought we were on the same wavelength. I text you, Brain, and I said, "Wouldn't it have been easier to use like the fire system at the school?"
Right.
Because I'm sure there's sprinklers all over that school. Yeah.
Right.
And it wasn't quite there, but Paula was on the same wavelength, and she went and got the giant fire hose. Yeah.
Yeah, the fire safety, the fire precautions in the school.
Yep. In the 80s, was that more? Was sprinkler systems not really?
That's what I'm thinking about. I'm trying to think. Was that even a thing in school?
I mean, if you would have had those giant hoses, you probably didn't have like overhead sprinklers. It's probably like either or.
I don't recall there being sprinklers in the schools back then, but the hell.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back to my high school.
100 years ago. So here's the part I didn't much understand. Well, there's been a lot, but here's the most recent part. They were going to the principal's office. Is that did I get that right?
They were going to get to the phone. They wanted to go call the police.
And there's no other phone but in one office. Because I was gonna say, wouldn't you go to like the locker rooms where there's showers?
Yeah, I would think if you have these,
like you could lure them all there and just kill them all.
Yeah, if I had psychopathic killers after me, and I knew that one of the most abundant things on this planet will just easily vaporize them.
Yeah.
I'm no decision that I make is not going to have me near a water source at any given time.
Yeah, they should have just had the Battle of the Bands like on the beach.
There you go. Maybe salt water doesn't do it. I don't know. Maybe it's got to be
Well, they
like.
seemed very confident in Paula's ability to fend them all off, like Curly
Oh
at the end
yeah.
of this order in the court with the fire hose in the courtroom.
Yeah, and I feel like we need to describe too. When we say squirt guns that we've brought up, these aren't like super soakers.
Yeah,
these
Super
are like
Soakers
Yeah, they didn't exist yet.
no,
These are like your
go
dollar
to the-
store
I was
squirt
gonna
guns.
say dollar store pack of 5 that shoot out like the most narrow stream of water, and they're thinking they're
Right.
gonna. I mean, even if it did hit them, I would probably just like burn a little.
Right.
You're not dousing them
Yeah.
in water.
Yeah, it's like when you touch a hot pot and you're like, ah, like it would probably be something like that.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, they go up to the principal office to use the phone, but Steve does get another fire hose and just sets it and turns it on, so it's like just cascading down the stairs. So anyone trying to come up from that way, any maniac will be like, "Oh, I can't do it. The stairs are wet because I'm stupid."
They're not stupid, they're just melty.
Okay.
Well, that one like gets electrocuted all of a sudden.
Yeah, he must have been like the electrified gremlin. Yeah, we really should have just watched Gremlins 2, a new batch, because I've been wanting to watch that movie for a long fucking time. It's all right. Anyway, Natalie and Steve are hiding at this point, and then they just start making out. And then
He's done.
he's just like, is he just humping her at this point? I don't know. Did he like
Steve-
take it out, or is it just
Steve's,
dry humping?
Yeah,
What's
Steve's
going on?
he's had the blue balls for a while, and he's tried to
Yeah.
be nice. He slept on the couch, but he is tired of waiting.
He's like, we
Maybe he
might
thinks-
die.
I was gonna say maybe he thinks they might die too. So
May die. May as well shoot my shot literally.
I die in a virgin.
Possibly in his pants, though. I'm not sure. There wasn't a lot of time. There's not a lot of good lighting. I don't know who had what out and in and out. But I did spy a giant Michael Jackson mural. I don't know if anyone else did.
I did not spot that. It's
I
too
did.
After
Well,
this,
for Steve, he will no longer have to beat it.
Oh, I think it was actually you. You're good. Okay. Anyway, after this incident, though, the lieutenant is now seemingly willing to believe what has happened, or what the kids were saying.
Yeah, we
So
cut
now-
straight from dry humping to them just in the
Right,
cut.
yeah. This thing just starts going.
No
and,
middle
like,
cut.
and part of me, I had to then like rewind a few times because again, all that music kind of was like,
Oh, if you think that's abrupt, brain, give it like 5 more minutes.
Oh, I know. And I'm like, okay, see, because I'm like my attention got lost. I was good. I was doing good up until fucking Jaded took the stage, and then I was like, I'm done. I'm getting really done with this. So yeah, now they're like, okay, so now they got the cops, they got the fire department, which makes sense because they got freaking fire hoses. And they go down to the park where this all started, and they find the like bridge tower gimmick where these things pop out of willy-nilly. And the cops go in, and they're slow, nothing. It's just weird. Then the lieutenant opens up, which there's like a truck inside there.
Well, they all come out and they
Oh,
do
they come out.
they come out and they do the kids like nothing to see here, you dumbass kids, go home. The lieutenant's like, round up these hoses, get these fire trucks out of here, and everyone's like, ah. And then he decides, I guess, to go back in for one last scan.
Yeah. This is where I didn't understand. I watched it toward like, why did that one-eyed monster kill him? I mean, I understand why, but why?
Well,
And then we
pulled
just-
into the portal to hell.
Yeah, that's true. I felt like I was pulled into a portal to hell when this movie started 90 minutes ago. But listen, we cut to Steve and Natalie and Paul, and they're just like driving away because they were sent home. And then the movie ends.
Just like that.
Well, it ends with Steve saying, "What was it?" He said it was a
Can't rain all the time.
He's like, "This rain can't last forever."
Right. Oh, yeah.
My son had just he was walking through the room. He's probably grabbing another pop or something way too late and should be getting ready for bed. And he like just walks up kind of over my shoulder, and he's like watching the last few seconds, and then them in the car, and then just credits, and he's like, "Is that it?" It's like, I guess so.
There you go.
That's it.
Ryan Campbell, would you like to share your thoughts on this?
I'll give a few positives. I liked some of the elements of like Stranger Things. There were some things that like, pulled that nostalgia vibe out of me. I really liked Paula's character. I liked the delivery. You kind of talked about it kind of being like a Corey Feldman type, and then some of that kind of Stranger Things nerd who figures all this shit out kind of thing. I liked all that. I like kind of similar to you, Brain. Whenever I saw Paula on screen, I at least was confident that the plot was going to move forward. So once she joined the other two and they formed like the three, I was kind of like, okay, now the movie now we can just get going. Like she's there. They've all gotten together. They're finally communicating. Cool, let's go. And then similar to you, kind of once the music session started, it all just kind of come to a screeching halt. So kind of a lack of any kind of lore or any explanation of what the Maniacs are, combined with just some dead plot holes and a very unsatisfying finale. I was kind of hoping it would be like a Chopping Mall or Night of the Creeps like experience where you're like low budget and creative and effects, and you're like, oh, this is kind of a cult classic that I'll be like watching every year. It was not that, Brain.
No, Toyman, obviously this was not your first time watching it. What did you think on
It
this
was not.
rewatch?
I've certainly got my quips about it, and I've joked about it here, but I love this movie. I have a lot of love for it. I discovered it on USA Up All Night many, many years ago, watching it in the middle of the night on some Friday or Saturday at some point. And, since I've been a kid, have gone back to it numerous times, and I've fallen down the rabbit hole with learning about this. And it's interesting to me because there's another movie from that I discovered on USA Up All Night called Spookies, which is famous or
Yes.
infamous, however you want to look at it, for being an unfinished production that then got merged with another unfinished production. It's kind of like a two movies in one by two different crews and stuff. Neon Maniacs had a lot of funding problems, so they'd film for a month and then they'd have a delay and they couldn't start filming again for like another 6 months or something like that. I'm not sure of the exact timeline. I don't have it pulled up right in front of me, but that's why you don't see certain maniacs again, or new ones just randomly pop up. Or in the case of some of the characters that are in the movie throughout the movie, they're actually played by different people because the actors that were playing the original maniac that might have been in a scene earlier were no longer around. And it's also why the movie feels so abruptly concluded. It's why certain things feel very unfinished because they didn't get to finish film a final battle or a big finish. I believe part of the final battle was supposed to take place on a school bus. Like there was like as they evacuated, there was supposed to be like a confrontation on a school bus or something. So there's a lot that was scripted, and there was supposed to be more of an explanation for what happens, especially when you see it at the end when the detective is dragged into the back of the bus or the back of the van that's in the storage unit or whatever it was under the bridge, because apparently they don't live in the facility, but that's like a portal to their dimension or to hell or whatever it was.
Mm,
So they come out of that at any indeterminate time. So it's not like they decided, hey, let's set up shop by the water. It seems to maybe be an unfortunate circumstance. But two things that I did want to make reference to when I mentioned that I had a lot of notes and things that I wanted to drop here on the podcast. There was someone approached to produce this movie, and it is someone near and dear to our hearts here at Bulletproof Action. They reached out to Albert Pune to
mm,
helm this film, but he was working on Radioactive Dreams.
starring Michael
So,
Dudikoff.
so he was unable to do so. So there was almost a very close connection to one of our longtime favorites in this film. The other thing that I was going to mention, which is probably more amusing to me than anything, is the detective, Devin, in this film was played by an actor named Victor Brandt. And Victor Brandt, if you look up his resume, he's done a lot of acting work, he's done a lot of voiceover work, he's done some of like the DC animated stuff, but he is someone who is near and dear to my heart. And you'd be like, okay, why is this random ass guy who plays a detective in this cheesy movie that only you love more than anyone else? Why is he near and dear to your heart? And it is because He is directly involved in my favorite scene in the Saved by the Bell franchise because he is the guy who tries to buy Bayside High School and tear it down in season 2 of the new class, which causes Lisa Slater and Zach to show up as a reunion episode and save the school. And before that, he was the villain in the movie Saved by the Bell Hawaiian Style. So Neon Maniacs has a direct connection to my favorite TV show of all time.
I thought you were going to say it was the garbage man on Maud. So
No, I made a 90s reference instead of a 70s reference.
okay, very good. This is what I will say is I almost made it 40 years without seeing this movie. And I wish I could say I continued that streak. Did not, I mean, this is one of those where it's like, it's either going to be, how in the hell have I never seen this movie before? Or I understand why no one ever really was pushing this one on me. And
But as a fan of USA Up All Night, you don't remember anything about this at all? Like, I know
no.
I've talked
I
about
mean,
it.
they, again, I would pop in and out on US. It wasn't something I was doing all the time. But yeah, like I knew of it existing, but I, for whatever reason, just never watched it. Or maybe I did see a little bit of it on there, but what you could frickin' see, it's damn well dark. Who knows? But I never sat down and watched this movie, and that was never one that, I mean, up until when you reviewed it for the site, where anybody I ever talked to was like, "This is this movie, and I enjoy it." No, never, no, and I understand why, because there's some stuff there, but and not knowing all the behind the scenes, that that makes all the missing stuff make sense why it was missing, but the fucking shit's still missing, and it hurts the movie, obviously. So I mean, yeah, the concept was there. It was just the execution. Yeah, it was like Steve's plan, like a good idea, poorly executed.
I even, to your point, Toyman, about, I actually kind of liked all the, like, seeing new maniacs come in. I liked the gimmicks. I enjoyed that there was, like, they all had like their own unique gimmick, and I almost felt like a G.I. Joe or like cartoon-esque, like could have been action figures, like quality to each certain one. And you could have easily leaned into that as to what is producing these, but it seemed like there was enough going on behind the scenes that they were just focused on getting something done than making it work. But I kind of dug seeing like a new one introduced. It kept the movie fresh. Like, oh, here's the doctor one, and what's he up to? And so I was on board for that. That like, to me, that wasn't one of the major flaws in the film. It's just I needed some exposition of where the hell they come from, or like something.
Yeah, right. I didn't care. Yeah, you could have had 10,000 of these freaking things. 10,000 maniacs. Anyway, listen, you could add that. And but yeah, why, who, what? Give me an origin story. It doesn't have to be 2 hours long, but give me some kind of origin story.
And they did the lightning thing at the beginning, which I thought was going to be a key part of.
Yeah, was that like summoning them, or
or is that call them back, or and I mean, I would imagine at some point maybe they thought so too and just bailed on it.
And I remember it had to be like one of those like Joe Blow movie videos or something like that, like going back, I don't know, like 5 years ago, maybe even more at this point. One of those videos on YouTube, those little capsule reviews, and one had popped up for Neon Maniacs. So I'm like, oh, like, what are they gonna say about it? And from what I remember from that, the reason that this isn't, so prominent as far as being discussed is because no one involved with it wants to talk about it because of all of the crap that they were going through with not getting paid and getting, called off and then trying to get brought back on, and they couldn't do it. I believe the director and the producer are both dead. And the cast is like, they either put it behind them or that's it, because Andrew Divoff, obviously illustrious career doing a lot of character actor work. Leilani Sorrell, the main girl that played Natalie, I don't know how long it's been since you've seen it, so it probably didn't register, but she played Sharon Stone's girlfriend in Basic Instinct.
Okay.
So she actually kind of became, fairly prominent for a time, at least, as like a co-star.
Yeah.
Um, so, a lot of these people were like, okay, we did that corny movie when we were, coming up. It was one of our first films or whatever. But yeah, there's no one. I mean, the girl that played Paula, this was her only movie.
Yeah, I was surprised about that because I thought she was she was natural. I'm surprised that
Yeah,
when I looked at that,
she
this
had
was
like
her only
that
movie.
quirky tomboyish thing. She was kind of like that girl in Real Genius, if you know what I'm talking about, Brain, the same girl that was in Revenge of the Nerds, the one that was in love with not Val Kilmer, but with, the other kid.
Yeah, vaguely. It's been a long time since I've seen those movies. But yeah, she was good. Again, she was the MVP of the movie for me. Easily. If she was in charge of that plan, those maniacs would have been dead.
Which you would have thought they would have just put her in charge since she was the only one that knew what the hell was going on.
Yeah. But she was just
I'm almost wondering if the movie would have killed any of them off if it was finished. I don't know the actual details of all of that, but I wonder if that would have happened.
We can all wonder. That's all we can do because we'll never know. But what I do
with
know,
how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll.
exactly, no one knows. But there it was, our Neon Maniacs episode here as part of spooky season on the Bulletproof Podcast. Let us know. Maybe you do know. Maybe you know something about Neon Maniacs. Well, you could let us know on social media at Bulletproof Pod on X and Blue Sky, and at Bulletproof Action on Facebook and Instagram. Ryan Campbell, the YouTube channel. I know you said we broke a milestone. I think that's worth tooting our horn about once again.
Yeah, absolutely. 2,200 subscribers now, which is up quite a bit from when we started cracking it up a few months ago. So we've seen all the metrics are starting to kind of build some momentum. If you're in the YouTube world, when you take time away, which we weren't really doing uploads, it's really hard to get that momentum back. So anyone that's gone over there and subscribed, it's nice to hit a milestone like that. And we definitely appreciate it. Keep throwing content up there. And if you haven't gone and checked it out and liked and subscribed, we certainly appreciate that you do.
I mentioned earlier last week was Duty Palooza on bulletproofaction.com, but we also had some non-Michael Dudikoff content, including Ryan's review of Tron Ares.
Yes, which I've totally seen at the time of recording this, and I have very definitive opinions about that you should go to the website and check out.
I think you're lying. And we also had a Deathstalker review from our friend Sean Cavender, who is lucky enough to have a showing in his area. So he's going to help us out with that, or he did help us out with that.
Sean had a comment on our Cyberjack podcast.
Oh, did he now?
He said when he thinks of Brian James, he thinks of Nightmare at Noon and Steel Dawn.
Very true.
In the latter, he plays a sad sack brain.
Yeah, he does. I have definitely seen Steel Dawn. So yeah, there you go.
Definitely seen Sad Sacks.
Yeah, the comic book recently, as a matter of fact. I didn't know Tim Baker had his own comic book, but you learn something new all the time. And hopefully you all learn something new. Speaking of new, a brand new movie coming out later this week, Gladiator Underground. I'm very intrigued by that one. That is Friday the 17th. I'll be covering that. Again, the 17th is when I'm going to pick the winners for our spooky season giveaway, digital copies of Jordan Peele's Him. That will be this Friday. Later this month, another brand new movie called The Wrecker, featuring our good friend, Mr. Chad Michael Collins.
Good man. Another good man.
Looking forward to checking that one out as well. Toyman already teased us last week that his second No Surrender cinema will be something spooky season friendly.
That's the plan as of right now, unless something new pops up. Obviously, sometimes
then he'll do the spooky movie in May again.
Maybe we'll
get a spooky movie in December.
Maybe we'll get a best must-watch list of Dynasty episodes.
Oh Jesus! Don't. I couldn't put that on the site.
I mean, there is a lot of action in Dynasty. So
yeah, the best cat fights. The best catfights on Dynasty coming
No,
from.
when they have to go over to Moldavia and save all the hostages after the whole massacre at the wedding.
Yeah, that's the only thing I remember is that massacre at the wedding because I'm sure my parents had that thing. They were all excited about it, but me, it was like the only reason I'd be excited is if they like, oh, you can stay up for like 15 minutes.
It was
But
like
it's
the red wedding for boomers.
You could stay up for 15 minutes, but you had to stay up and watch Dynasty. So it was like, okay. But there you go. So that's coming up. Bulletproofaction.com. As I always say, there's always something going on over there. So check it out. Anything else anybody wants to say before we call this one?
No, I think
Toyman.
it's been a long night for you guys. I appreciate you guys humoring me and watching Neon Maniacs. This is a film that is near and dear to me. One of the ones that I'm nostalgic for, even in all of its unfinished, goofy glory. I still get a kick out of this one, so I'm glad we get to talk about it. I'm sorry it was not an A-list five-star feature for you, but I think that
No,
we made an entertaining podcast out of it. So thank you for indulging me.
right. It served a purpose. It gave us content. So yeah, will I ever watch this movie again? Highly unlikely. But I might say the same when we cover Maniac Cop 3 later this month, which is our Halloween
Right.
tradition. Now next week
That is coming up, the end of the trilogy.
next week is up in the air at this point. If possible, if more than one of us does see Deathstalker, because I do believe it hits digital on the 17th. We might do that, or we might do something else. We'll this is one of those ones you're just gonna have to tune in and find out. Sometimes I tell you,
podcast.
Keep them on their toes.
Sometimes I don't, because sometimes I don't know, and this is one of those I don't knows. So if I don't know, you don't know, but we'll all know next week, right? Sure. That's right. I'm just talking to myself now, folks, but I want to thank you all for tuning in to our Neon Maniacs episode. And as always, stay tuned for more of the Bulletproof Podcast.